Hello and welcome back to the Motivating Force. Today joining me we have host Sway, a aspiring Marine Corps officer who is currently finishing up ROTC and his bachelor's degree in the criminal justice field, and myself, Justin, a motivational speaker who is always more than excited to share our unique ideas and topics with all of our wonderful listeners. Today, we're going to be talking about living under pressure and stress, how to manage these things, and how to see what amount of stress is actually healthy for you to have in your life.
Well, to start off, I would like to say that once this video comes out, I would officially be a quarter of a century years old. So that's a little bit of stress, looking forward to the other, 3/4 of my life, hopefully.
Yeah.
Now's when the ball's got to be rolling.
Yeah, definitely no more excuses. That is 100% adulthood at that point. But don't worry, I'm only like 2 weeks behind you, man.
Yeah, your birthday's coming up. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I shouldn't say behind you because I'll be turning 26 in 2 weeks from now. But
you're such an old man compared to me. I'm a little baby.
We'll just consider it 25 again. We'll just pretend we're on the same page.
Okay, that's a lot better.
That works, right?
And you see, that's one way to solve this stress.
Yeah, just lie about your age. Is that what you're getting at? First thing Monday morning here?
Well, okay, so let's be serious, back on topic. We're dealing with mental health, and this is very serious for a lot of people. Should be serious for everyone, but there are those that struggle with it a little bit more than others. And I know we bring up Admiral William H. McRaven a lot. We've been doing that a lot for the past, 2 weeks now?
Yeah.
And I highly recommend people to go watch that commencement speech that he has, because there's so many different angles and points that he makes in, I think, like a 20-minute video. And there's one point that he brings up. And this one, I don't want to tie it too much into the stress and how to deal with stress, but how to deal with your mental health in general, because it's something that I've had a lot of people close to me that suffered with it. And I've also suffered with it in the past as well. But he explains his SEAL training, right? He was a Navy SEAL, and going about that training, they were talking about how he would have to take these like paddle boats out in the surf in California in the middle of their surf will get like 8 feet tall at some point. And he just keeps emphasizing on how every paddle counts. Every paddle has to be in sync. Everybody has to be a team. It all has to be uniform. And the point that he's trying to bring out of that is that you need that team. The smallest hiccup could affect everyone. Full circle here that I'm trying to bring with mental health is that you don't have to go about this struggle or this stress or whatever it is that you're dealing with alone. Find that team for yourself and be open with that team that you choose. So for example, me and Justin, I can tell him anything that I'm dealing with, whatever he's dealing with, he can tell me, because we are a team.
Like the old cliche, two heads are better than one, There's a lot of truth to that. And even just having one other person on your team is enough and beneficial for you when it comes to managing stress, because a lot of times stress is just what we have caught up in our own head. So if we have another person there to bring a different perspective to the table for us, it can really help you see what is important, what you're actually stressing over, and what you're just making up for yourself, right?
Yeah, perfect example is half the time it's all useless. There's no reason to really stress about it. It's just you overthinking about it. Because how many times have I been stressing over something? I'll bring it up to you, and then you look at me like, that's stupid. Why are you stressing over it?
Yeah.
And then that's when the light bulb clicks, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's no reason. And then I just kind of blow it away, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. But that's why it's important. It doesn't have to be a friend. It could be your significant other. It could be your parents. Just getting it out of your head, verbalizing it, vocalizing it, it would have a drastic effect.
But to focus on the healthy amount of stress, we're going to take some steps moving forward here on that. And I like to kind of use the analogy of a video game. If you're playing a video game and you always are going down the hardest path, right? You know something's wrong when the video game's easy.
Yeah.
When you're heading down somewhere and nothing's happening in the game at all, and you're just No. I took a wrong turn somewhere. I'm not supposed to be over here, right? There needs to be things going on, stuff happening. And life is that same way, where you are going to have stress in your life, and you should not focus on eliminating all of your stress. If you're living a 100% stress-free life, I would like to congratulate you on your retirement and your hard work and your years of dedication to society, because that's really the only time that you're going to have a stress-free life is when you're 65 plus and you're done.
Yeah.
Right. But for the rest of us who still need to make those contributions to society, we need to be able to measure how much stress is in our life to see if we're still heading down the right path. See if we're still making progress in our life.
Yeah, I like this analogy too, because it just made me think that the way that you know that you have that correct stress, like even relating it to that video game, when you're going down this path and you have no idea where you're going, in order to know when it's the right path, you'll hear that boss music, and then you're like, oh snap, and then you start freaking out because then it's like, there is an objective, there's a boss that's going to be coming up, instead of just seamlessly just walking around in circles. So that boss music that you hear to get you on that right path is it's that motivation in your real life of you're stressing about something or a deadline that you need to do. Knowing the healthy amount that you can retain from that is going to be the motivation to get those things done. Because if you're just all lax and you're not doing anything, you have nothing to worry about, you're not going to be motivated to do much. But if you're stressing out about it just a little bit, the appropriate amount, you'll get the thing done.
And I think I do actually have 4 main points here, because to me, when I was kind of analyzing this idea, I looked at measurement of stress and the management of stress as kind of a double-edged sword. So there's just really 4 factors in play here for people to use as a self-analysis or self-diagnostic tool. And the first one's being that if you're constantly moving towards an objective or towards a goal, there's 2 points to that. And that is that if you're accomplishing those tasks and objectives in the proper amount of time, give and take, of course, a little bit here for there because we're not perfect. And 2, you don't lose focus or vision on that task. You're able to, that's when you're applying a good amount of stress in your life, because you still have the vision and the focus to get those things done, and you're getting it done in a relatively good amount of time. It sounds simple when you put it out that way, but really think about that. If something's really stressing you out because you don't like doing it, are you getting it done in a good amount of time? Are you able to focus on it and accomplish it efficiently? It's probably not too much stress for you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And going on to that, as I said about the double-edged sword, the other side of that is also an easy reflection, because if you're not finishing the task on time, if you're constantly falling behind on it, if you're losing focus or forgetting bits and pieces of what you're trying to accomplish, now you might be having too much stress in your life. That might be unhealthy at that point. Because there does come a time where you're going to be learning how to do new things and trying to accomplish things. Coming into the new year here with resolutions, I kept that in mind for people, because you are going to be stressed out doing these things. But if you're forgetting bits and pieces here and there, and it's taking you forever to do these things, you probably need to find some help with it, or you need to change your approach to it, because it's probably too much stress for you.
Yeah, because you can really fall in a hole, and even getting out of that mental health aspect of too much stress, it can affect you physically. You can have actual physical problems and ailments from this because you're just stressing out too much. Your blood pressure can go through the roof. It could affect your heart. You can have a heart attack because of you stressing. And it's it's just being able to take a step back, reanalyze why are you stressing over it and how to go about it the right way. Maybe you're just, you're not managing the time correctly in your day. Go back to our daily routine video. Maybe you just need to dedicate an extra hour to whatever it is that you are stressing about, because we're not being specific on what it is that you're stressing about. We're being specific on the actual stress and how that can cause so much damage to you as an individual.
And that's, of course, for our go-getters out there. You want to accomplish so many things. You want to be out there. You want to get after it. Obviously, you're here listening to us. You have some form of motivation in your life to stay moving and getting things done. But again, to use that same analogy, I also kind of apply that towards people who might have too little stress.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one now in this generation. You're going to have a lot of people that are just sitting on their butt.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking about was like, if you have no stress, who should have no stress? And I'm like, probably your grandma should have no stress.
Yeah.
You know, and probably your grandpa, but you know, that's it. The rest of us, we need to do our part, right? And so another good self-analysis for that, again, back to kind of the double-edged sword here, is if things are too easy, right? But you've been moving all day, right? You're constantly busy, you're constantly working towards things, but everything's still getting done in that timely manner. And here's the part that you can start analyzing that. If you still feel ready to do more at the end of the day, or you feel a lack of accomplishment towards what you did all day, but you've been moving and working and doing things all day, you're probably not doing enough. And you're going to go, well, how is that possible? Because, I mean, I've been busy all day. I've been doing things all day, right?
Yeah, I've been sweating all day.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, you're not doing enough in the sense that you're not challenging yourself enough. Because you're doing enough activities, obviously, but the activities you're doing, they probably don't mean a whole lot towards your self-improvement. You know, the easiest way is like, I can see this where kind of how we manage the automotive shop that me and my dad are at. And it's like, you know, you have some oil techs where in 2 hours, they'll knock out like 7 oil changes, right? It's a very time-based job. And you can't like grab them to do something for a minute. They're constantly busy, but they get 7 oil changes done in 2 hours. And then you have another guy who gets 3 oil changes done in 2 hours, but it's the same thing. You can't grab him. He's constantly busy, constantly working, but he only got 3 done, whereas the other guy can get 7 done in 2 hours. So you can kind of see where it's like, you can kind of make stuff up to fill in that fluff time, make things easy on yourself, but kind of give yourself a pat on the back to say you're doing a whole lot. And I'm not here to criticize you. I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to help you. And to do that, we're talking about stress. If you have too little of it, here are some signs of that. Plain and simple.
Yeah. I mean, having that too little bit of like stress, it also goes back to the goals that you set for yourself. Like we've talked about countless amount of times when we say like it's a constant progression. If you feel like you still have the energy to do more things or you're not challenging yourself enough, make another goal. You know, kind of like progress that daily routine that you have for yourself to the next level. You know, challenge yourself a little bit more. Put in an extra hour to do something else, or create a new habit, or refine the habit that you're already doing, or the hobby, I should say. Whatever it is that you're working on as a goal, try improving it.
Yeah.
That should be a healthy amount of stress that you're adding instead of like an overwhelming amount of stress on your body.
And that's perfect because that solution is that fourth point I had for that other end of the double-edged sword is for the people who realize that they could do more. They could accomplish more if they really try to apply themselves. And they could add that extra healthy stress to their life. That's spot on the point. And it's taking those baby steps towards that, right? Don't do anything, too much above your skill level in the sense that, like you said, if you're going to try to go out and add running to your routine or something like that, try to create that healthier version of yourself, and you decide to train for an Ironman, you're probably going above your skill level if you haven't ran in the last 4 years.
But, I mean, we're also not taking this episode to, explain to people how to add stress.
Yeah.
We're just kind of, that point's more to tell you guys to reevaluate if you do have enough healthy stress.
So, of course, staying away from adding stress, let's get a little bit into how to eliminate some unnecessary stress, because I feel at this point we've really made a good connection towards, having you guys understand that you're going to have stress in your life, and you should. But there does come a point where there's too much of it. And I think the easiest way to handle too much stress, the true version of too much stress, is to not bite off more than you can chew.
From the get-go, yeah.
From the get-go, because we're, like I said, keeping resolutions in mind, keeping the fact that people are going to be trying new things, and a lot of times people drop out from those things because they get discouraged, or it's just too much to add on to their day. They're going to get stressed out. They're going to get burned out from it. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Be honest with yourself. Go out there and accomplish the little things, kind of like what we talked about last week. Accomplish the little things. It's going to make you feel so much better than trying to climb Mount Everest on the first try. You know?
Or even just reanalyzing what it is that you are setting for yourself. Because when I told myself I'm going to run 1,000 miles this year for a New Year's resolution, at first I'm like, you know what? Maybe that's a lot. But then you break it down. So I had to reanalyze it. Okay, how much is it a day? I already do 1 to 2 miles a day. So it's just doubling that. Yeah. I had the free time. I had that extra time that I can pull from, the actual brick and mortar gym. I can take some of that time out and just double my run. I do it anyway. It doesn't look as bad, so it's not going to weigh as heavy as just going, oh, I got to run 1,000 miles this year.
Yeah.
I just go, okay, 4 miles a day.
But I think that is a good point, too, for people. It's like, if you're not going to climb Mount Everest on your first try, because, you're not, what are the steps you take towards accomplishing that goal? And it's that constant application of the right amount of stress that makes it to where when you get to that point, you can accomplish it. Because that's the beautiful thing about being a human, is that we are truly adaptive creatures. And by that, when you apply a certain amount of stress to your life, for like new activities you're trying to do, those same activities a month from now are going to be a lot less stressful for you to accomplish. So if you just keep that constant level of stress in your life, the healthy amount of stress in your life, you will continually accomplish more things because you're going to adapt to it. You're going to become better at it, more efficient at it. Don't be scared to embrace that.
Like being able to do more things over time and, adapting more goals in your daily routine. What you can also really do is take some time. It could just be, 10 minutes a day. It could be 30 minutes a day. It could be once a week, whatever. Just take time. Like we said in yesterday's video for mental detox, just focus on nature. Disconnect from technology. Disconnect from people if you need to. Just go outside, go on that hike, go sit by a park, go look at nature, go watch bugs, go on a plant. Just disconnecting from like social media where you're just looking at people do so many things, or the other end of the spectrum where people are not doing anything at all, Facebook. And you focus on just being present. That would help you get rid of so much stress as well, because it's just all built up in your head, and then you see all these screens around you all the time. Get away from that. Go get some fresh air. Sit in silence. Just go look at some trees. That's going to help you a lot.
That's the whole point, coming back around to making sure you have the right people in your life. Because at the same time where you take that break just to kind of disconnect from everything, be by yourself, self-evaluate where you're at. When you have the right people around you, they can also help you with that. Whereas sometimes where you might not be able to take the break, or you might not realize you need the break, having just the right people in your life to tell you, why don't you take a day off?
Yeah.
Just don't worry about it. Take a day off, And then at the same time, looking at it from the other end is like, hey, bro, I've been seeing you on the gram. Every time I go on the gram, you've already been on the gram.
Yeah.
Maybe you should take a break from that and actually get up off your ass and do something. You want to try doing that this week?
So this is also like a side note for the people that are having that healthy amount of stress and are able to balance it out. Be that friend. Be that person at work. If you see somebody stressing out, just go over, tap them on the shoulder, help them out. Be that person that they don't even know that they need.
Yeah.
Because they can be so wrapped up in their flaws and they aren't lucky enough to, watch this video. So show them the video or tell them, hey, go take a break. Yeah. Stop thinking about this so much right now. Well,
some people can be really selfish sometimes.
Well, I was going to say, a lot of people don't want to admit that another person can help them out.
Yeah.
Human nature, you want to just kind of do you by yourself. You know, you want to be the alpha. You want to be the guy that can do everything. You don't need anybody to help you. You're going to need people to just be there for you sometimes.
See, that's what I was just struggling to get out, talking about being that selfish person was exactly that. And so that is a great point, is really accepting that in yourself and accepting the help from others when you need it, especially when you realize who it's coming from. But deep down inside, I mean, you know what's right, you know what's wrong. You know if you're on Facebook all day that there's a problem with that. And if somebody points that out, it might offend you or whatever. But you know in your head. Like, I don't have to preach on distinguishing between what's right and wrong for you to be doing. You know what it is. When you have people that come up and say, hey man, it's time to take a break, think about that. Are they right? Are they wrong? You know. And it's like, if you have that pride in you and that selfishness to be like, oh, I can finish all this. Well, there was your sign. There was your call. Take a break, take the step back before you burn out. Because that's, you know, a lot of people, a lot of close people around you, they're going to have your best self-interest in mind. Yeah. And they're going to see that. They're going to see that burnout coming way before you do.
Yeah, and that's something that I've dealt with, like I was mentioning at the beginning, that I've had these kind of issues in my past. And we've spoken on it before, but it was like that whole emotional, quick to anger kind of feeling that I would have, and that problem that I dealt with. And a lot of it was due to stress. A lot of it was due to lack of putting my ego aside. You know, because like you mentioned, that pride of wanting to be the one that can conquer the world by himself, you know. And it's not going to make you less of a man. It's not going to make you less of a woman to just accept help from somebody else.
Yeah.
Even if it's to just talk to them about what you're going through. That alone is help. You know, if it's finances, if it's school, if it's work, they don't even need to like help you with that. But just helping you by listening to you is a lot better than always being angry and taking your anger out on everybody. That's not going to make you more of a man.
A lot of times we do ignore the quality of stress. So you'll see that in your life and be like, oh man, I'm getting real snappy with people lately. I'm getting real angry with people lately. Let me do some things to help like calm myself down and be less of an aggressive person and do this and do that. But you never considered the fact that maybe you started working doubles, right? You never realized that you started sleeping 2 hours less a night. You never realized that you added more stress to your life than what you can truly handle.
Yeah, I guess so. To tie like everything together with, you just shouldn't be biting off more than you can chew. But in the occasion that you do bite off more than you can chew, don't feel scared to reach out to other people. Don't feel scared or ashamed or embarrassed, you know, to have somebody there for you. Even if it's just to watch your back. Like, in case I go off the rails, be there for me. That's going to be like more important than just being quick to anger, being snappy, you know, ruining relationships.
Great conclusion on everything. I'm going to have one last point to share because, and I know you probably saw it because we kind of, you know, go over our notes beforehand, but when we talk about biting off too much than you can chew, sometimes you get some gems out of that. And for me, it's trying to be motivational and making notes well past the hours of late and, you know, when I should actually be sleeping. But instead, I'm trying to be fired up and writing things down. So I'm going to share with you guys this little note that I wrote down for a point to go off of. And word for word, what I put down was what it's worth in your life is to have stress. And to start it off in bold, I put 100% cash money, baby. So, you know, I was getting fired up to help the people who could add some more stress in their life. And I said, we are created in the image of God, and that God is Zeus, because the image we're created in is lightning. We tend to take the path of least resistance. We are lazy and unmotivated by nature, or should I say, by our natural environment. So we tend to always try to be in this relaxation mode. And I don't know, maybe that's just us being here in Florida and it's all, you know, beaches and flip-flops and palm trees. But it's like, that's what really got in my head. And I was saying, for those of us who are really trying to get after it, go after it. Sometimes trying to move into that lifestyle, you're going to have to fight these urges to just be lazy. And again, having that person in your life to tell you when it's okay to be lazy, or to find the right ways to analyze it yourself, to actually be lazy. And, just go out there, get after it, and apparently 100% cash money, baby. So leaving you guys with that little 3 a.m. antic, I would like to say 100% cash money, baby. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe, so that way we can get some cash money, baby.
I guess, yeah, hopefully. That'll be the additional stress to get that fire lit under our butt this year for you. But go ahead and follow us on social media. We have Facebook and Parler at The Motivating Force. We have our Instagram page as well that we've been posting a lot on. So if you're not following with that, or if you want an easier route to show people the page or our clips, whatever we post, go ahead and send them the Instagram, because I know you're going to be on that anyway. That's Podcast TMF. We post our videos Mondays and Wednesdays, and we have little short videos on Sundays that we're going to be doing as well.
And until next time, go and get